Welcome back to Classic Firearms. I'm Brandon, and this is a Glock 17 Gen 5 in a cardboard box. Reason why it's in a cardboard box is actually kind of interesting. We'll get to that in a second. We're gonna go ahead and dive into the tech specs of this particular gun, and we're gonna weigh it, verify it, and then we'll close out the video. But first, we're gonna start off just a little bit differently. I wanna talk to you about why and what this gun is, where it came from. This is a law enforcement trade-in specific firearm. So basically, a precinct, I don't know where, somewhere, says, hey, we need a new gun. They go buy new guns, and then they give their old ones someone the opportunity to grab them, especially through a site that you may know and love. With that being said, you do see some differences. Now, they come in all sorts of conditions. You have some that are rough shape, some that are great shape, like this one in particular. We picked, so Josh, one of the people who does buying, actually helped me go through probably a dozen of these and just picked out one of the ones that was what I considered the most average in this particular lot. When you see this video, that can have a little bit of time sensitiveness, but if you are going on to buy one, look at the listing. It'll tell you what condition it is in. This one looks beautiful, actually. Now, keen-eyed viewers may say, hey, that's looking like a new Gen 5. Why doesn't it have slide serrations? Well, that's because in this particular lot, some of them, not all of them, do not have the slide serrations on the front, and they also have a moon cut. That's specifically because it is a older Gen 5, or one of the first runs of Gen 5 that they did. Then later on, they did add some of those. So again, pay attention to the listings whenever you see a law enforcement trade-in. All right, we're gonna start the tech specs with the price. This particular lot's right around $400 depending on the sale going on at the time. That's because this is a really good condition run and batch that is brought in with the law enforcement trade-ins. They can generally be cheaper if they have a little more wear to it, if there's dings, dents, scratches, but they usually will all function, and you will see that just in the description, that quality, whether it's good, great, bad, whatever it may be. This in particular is great, and that's why it's right around $400. So with your standard Glock Gen 5, you are gonna see a 4.43 inch barrel. You do also have the AmeriGlow sights, which means you have a front orange sight and rear blacked out, but the blacked out does have those night sights built into them. You also have one in this particular lot, magazine in this box, that is that 17 round, because it is a Glock 17, and ironically, they have 17 round mags. You also are going to get ambi slide release, so you can do it from the left or the right side, and the best part about that is they're not stiff, because they're used. I love that, actually. To be honest with you, that's actually something I love about that. Your weight without the magazine is 22.22 ounces, and with the magazine is 24.97 ounces. When you load it up, you're looking at 33.33 ounces. As you might expect, you do have that Glock safe action trigger, so you do have that trigger safety built in. Your overall length is 7.95 inches, with your overall width being 1.34 inches, your height being 5.47 inches, and your sight radius is 6.46 inches, in case you were wondering. All right, moving on. Now let's talk about kind of tip to butt what we're getting. You can see right up front that the barrel does protrude out just a little bit farther than the slide in standard Glock fashion. On this particular one, you do see a little bit of wear right on that barrel, letting you know that it has been fired. The break-in period's already done. At least that's what my assumption is. You then notice that because it's Gen 5, you do have those cut edges, so it's not squared. And then on top, again, those AmeriGlow sights that I mentioned earlier. No slide serrations because this is an early run of that Gen 5 Glock 17. And then you head on back to get those rear slide serrations that we've come to love and know. As we head on down to that polymer portion of the pistol, you do have a Picatinny rail with one crossbar slot. So you'll be able to fit most of the lights and lasers that you're gonna wanna put on here. Throw an extra 100 on there, and you'll be looking really good. As you move on to that trigger guard area just a little bit, you can see that it is that traditional Glock squared and oval in the middle, with the takedown lever being just above that trigger guard. Now, as for that trigger itself, trigger pull goes a little bit like this. So you pull back that trigger safety, you have a little bit of take up, pretty good amount of take up, as you would expect with Glock, and right about that 90 degrees, you hit that wall, you pull through it, a little bit of take up more, and then bang. And then that release is a little bit of movement right there, and then bang again. This is a duty pistol, right? So you are seeing, it feels like about a 6-pound trigger, and it does actually feel like that. So we're gonna test that in just a minute though. Let's move on to the grip portion. You do have Glock's standard grip in the box. Now, some of the boxes do come in those standard Glock boxes with back straps. This one did not. That's one of the reasons why I grabbed it, because this is bare bones, very basic. Not much in the box other than a trigger lock. So then as you move down, you can see, again, you have that moon cut, slight flared mag weld that you do get with those Gen 5s, which is always nice to see. So now, let's verify some of those tech specs. I'm gonna grab a measuring tape and I'll be right back. All right, measuring tape here. That might be a little long. There we go. Get some expectations for you. Point the gun away from myself. And we have right at that 7 1/4 mark as far as length goes. Your overall height, you can see this before I can, of course, about 5.5 inches with that rear sight especially. And then that width, interestingly enough, that slide is 1 inch thick. And my guess is that 1.3 that they're talking about, and this probably with the AMB slide releases. At least that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Let's go ahead and move on to that trigger pull. Got handy dandy trigger pull in my back pocket. Move the mag, clear the gun. As you can see, we do clear the guns before we ever bring them onto camera, but let's go ahead and see what that feels like. I'm gonna set it on the ground, push it down with one arm, and then pull the trigger with the other. In 3, 2, 5.92 pounds, which is really close to that 6-pound mark that is mostly claimed with those Glocks. So now for the final test, let's go ahead and grab that scale and see exactly how much it weighs. All right, now we have that gun unloaded, but with the mag in it. It is 1.57 pounds. Without that mag, we are looking at, you can see it before I can, 1.40 pounds. So roughly 1.5 pounds. Without the mag, you're probably looking at 2 pounds with ammo inserted. Now that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any experiences with either the Glock 17 Gen 5s or any sort of law enforcement trade-ins, because people are gonna wanna know, are these worth it? In my opinion, this is almost a new gun. Not every time do you get that. Sometimes you get a really worn-in one. But with that being said, that's all I have for you guys today. God bless, stay safe. It is time to end. Now I'm gonna shoot it, see how well it shoots.